Is JJ here? Hi, JJ. Come on in. He's at another Republican women. Now you have all Republicans.
Thank you.
Do you have a question for us?
Absolutely. Well, it's nice to see you again. I'm JJ. I'm running for state treasurer. I'll just before I ask my questions, the first thing I'd like to just announce is that the last time we were here and I got a chance to meet with you, I made a prediction, and now I'm here to tell you folks that prediction has turned into a guarantee. We are going to send a governor home after just one term. Well, I get that. I'm running for state treasurer. I guess my question is, how many of you feel like it's time that we have a state treasurer actually has a financial background? Yeah. That's good. How many of you also know, by off chance, since it relates to the Treasury, how much money it's going to cost the state treasurer now that Obamacare has been passed in Washington, D.C.? Any guesses?
Triple.
Somewhere between $100 and $300 million a year, beginning now in Colorado alone in Medicaid costs. And the reason that they were able to, that farce of a CBO budget number in Washington, not only did they have 10 years of taxes for only 6 years of programs, but so much of that money is now being pushed down to Colorado in the form of expanded Medicaid. I'm supposed to ask you guys a question. How much of the state's general fund budget right now goes to Medicaid? Of the about $9 billion state general fund budget, now what percentage of that goes to Medicaid? 25%. So imagine that number doubles. So you can't, good job. How are we going to pay for that? That's my question. Because if I win the treasurer's race, we need to know the answer. So, so I'm here to ask for help.
You have to repeat that.
Yeah, the suggestion was take it to Vegas. Which is not unlike what we're doing with the state investment portfolio now. It's just Washington that we're risking it on instead of Vegas. Vegas may be more fun.
Maybe it wouldn't cost us anything if we would opt out of Obamacare.
That's a good answer. How many of you support the Attorney General's decision to Is there anybody in here that supports the 10th Amendment? How many of you are really ready to work to make sure that not only do we win these elections, but more importantly, that we make sure that the people we elect finally do the things that they all say they're going to do? How many of you have seen now that the new proposal in the Colorado legislature to exempt education spending from any votes as it relates to table? Just yesterday.
There's a great article now in Clear the Bench, Colorado, by the way.
Yeah, great question. How many of you are ready to send 4 Supreme Court justices home? In large part enable much of what's gone in hurting taxpayers, raising taxes and fees in Colorado over the years. So how long do I have to ask questions? Let's just a couple more minutes. No. How many of you think it's a good idea that we continue to rent the health department from the government of Canada's pension system while our own pension system is failing? Anybody think who thinks we should fix that? Yeah. I just, in the answer to them, I tell you, I've for 3 years gone down to this governor and this treasurer and begged them to take even the simplest steps toward making government more efficient in that way, and we've gotten nowhere. Well, I'm proud to tell you tonight that after talking about it just for the last few months on the campaign trail, and a couple of newspapers pick it up, and a little sunlight gets shown, KMGH TV says, hey, what is up with that? Legislation has already been introduced yet this session in the House and the Senate in the State Capitol building to try to fix that. So I'm actually happy with that. This isn't a question, but the time to save taxpayers' money, in my opinion, is always right now. No matter who is in charge of the legislature, who's in charge of the governor's office, the time to do the right thing is always right now. And so I'm glad that that's finally being addressed, and hopefully they'll follow through with it and get it done, because we ought to fix those kind of things simple. I'm sorry, you have a question too? What should be my next question?
these fees and these end arounds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that, I mean, does anybody think that's going to happen as long as Democrats maintain their majority in the Senate and in the House and in the governor's office or in the treasurer's office or in the Secretary of State's office? I saw Scott Gessler is here.
Next session, we're going to repeal them all.
Good idea. Good idea. But is that going to happen if we all get it? Well, I think the energy and the passion and enthusiasm is great. But if we keep it in this room, are we going to be successful?
No.
Do we need to take it out and tell our friends and tell our neighbors? Do we need to stand up for the candidates that we support, that we like, that think we represent our values the best? Can we get them elected to these jobs? Can we get out and make a commitment to tell our friends and neighbors to walk our precincts and to participate in this process? Is this going to happen all by itself?
No.
I mean, look at what you've all done. This didn't just happen by accident. I mean, there are people who worked real hard to make this happen. And God bless them, because this is the time we really do need to come together. I think now more than ever, we really, and I feel too young to be saying like for the first time in my life, I'm honest, but you know, I think we're at a real critical crossroads on what is the scope and power and authority we want a federal government to have. And what is the scope and power authority we want a state? And when are we going to start saying to each other that we need to step up, engage, take responsibility for our own lives, and take responsibility for the people in our own community that may need help from time to time without sending all that authority either to the Capitol building in Denver or the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I'm happy to visit more. I'm excited to be here. On the way over from the Republican Women, the car passed 1,600 miles since Thursday morning of last week. So we are working hard to earn your support, absolutely committed to earning our way onto the ballot, and absolutely committing to finally restoring some fiscal discipline and some good, sound fiscal policy in the Treasurer's office, and I would love to have your support. Thank you very, very much.